Okay, today we got Lucas's 65, we believe, Deluxe Reverb. I'll check out the transformer dates and pot date codes and stuff. Just looking at the front panel, you know, grimy, but these knobs all look to be original. Maybe not the base knob itself. These chassis mounting bolts are non-original. Got some Robertson action there. You know, not a big deal, but a collector might care. Cab is in like good vintage shape. Some nicks in the Tolex, some peeling up of the Tolex in the typical places. Can glue that down if he really wants, you know, so it doesn't continue to get worse. The back baffles look in decent shape. And, well, yeah, handle seems a little loose. We'll tighten all the hardware up right off the bat. Input jacks, at least, are better than finger tight. Grill cloth looks pretty good. Nicely nicotine aged. And on the back panel, everything looks to be authentic. These are the original Reverb. These are the original Reverb cables, which sometimes lose contact there. Yeah, this one's getting pretty close, I think. There's a bunch of solder blobs been added to it, but this shield is actually ground here, so you can see it's really coming away from the connector itself. So we'll make sure there's enough threads connected to still get ground for the reverb. Similar on the output. Foot switch, I don't know if he uses, I would recommend not. It's a reissue foot switch. Anyways, nice to have around, I guess, for live. And if it's not adding a bunch of noise, because sometimes the cable just acts as a big antenna hanging off the reverb like that. We could do a dummy plug on the vibrato and no plug on the reverb, just so everything's on all the time and you control it from the front panel. Check the fuse straight away. That's in there good. I don't want to pull too hard on that, so I'll once I get the baffle off here, I'll take a better look and make sure we don't hurt anything. Well, it's coming now. Okay. So put on my granny glasses here to make sure. But that looks like a 3 amp fuse, which we don't want. So I'll swap it for a 2. And looks like power cable's been done. Yeah. And we'll see if the ground switch has been taken out of circuit and death cap removed and stuff. Speaker leads might be the original, although hard to tell. Yeah, it's probably the original. I'll make sure it's clean. Okay, well, let's take a look inside. Yeah, just continuing with the first look-see here. So I popped in a 2 amp fuse, give that 3 amp one back to Lucas. We've got a tube chart. And we've got, you know, not a crazy amount of shrapnel and junk in the cab here. Looks like original Reverb bag. I'm sure it's the original pan, although we don't know absolutely for sure. We'll take a look. We'll vacuum things out. Oh, there's a caps nut laying at the bottom down here. Probably rattling around. Yep. Oh my god, there's 2. Alright. Couple caps nuts. Don't need those. Adding unwanted distortion. Or flying around and getting stuck to your speaker magnet. Okay, cool. Got some caps nuts out of the deal. And we'll check the baffle supports here. This one has a little split in it where someone seems to have tried to put another screw in. Not sure why. Top one looks like another hole has been drilled as well. But the spots where the screws are now are the original locations. They match on the other side. So, not sure why somebody would do that. Maybe there was some rattle or distortion that they thought was related to the baffle. You know, probably not structurally terrible, but couldn't hurt to throw some tight bond in the crack there and put a clamp on it and see if it gets all its support back. Finger joints are typically sort of coming apart at the bottom there, but let's see if we get any creakiness. We might be missing a foot too. Feels a little lopsided here. Let's just take a quick peek. Yeah, we're missing 2 feet. Alright, well, I can order a couple more so it doesn't flop around like that. You can get pretty much the vintage part. So it'll be the right height and the right look and everything. It'd be nice if it didn't do that. Alright, well, I think before I take the chassis out, I might plug it in and give it a quick listen because Lucas says that it's sounding great, just a bit noisy and stuff, so I want to get a bass line before I get in there and start mucking around. Alright, so just gonna quickly check out Lucas's 65 Deluxe Reverb here before we open it up. He says it's sounding pretty good, so I know it's not gonna blow up. Just want to kind of get a bass line here. I don't know for sure that it's, yeah, I guess I do, but I'll use standby anyway. I'll set the tone controls at noon. Take it out of standby. So with the volume pots down, there's a little hum and a fair bit of hiss, nothing obscene. You get a little bit of leakage. Hear that? The volume all the way down. It's actually coming through the amp. Turn on the trem so you can tell that it's not just the guitar in the room making. Yeah, you hear that? We got some trem thump too. And it changes speed with the speed now. So we'll de-tick that trem. De-thump it. It's more of a thump than a tick. And with the intensity all the way off, it's still there. So, well, that's a little curious. Might be lead dress, might be a tube. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is that there's some signal coming through when the pod is at 0. So we'll figure that out. And let's turn it up and hear it. Kill this trem for now, no reverb. Pretty spicy. That's on 3, so you know. This is just my telly straight in. I mean, it's humbuckers on the neck, but still, it's a bit more gain than I would have figured. Although this is a Celestian higher wattage speaker than typically in a Deluxe, so that's going to be part of why it's pretty loud and spicy. Yeah, 65 watt. So pots don't seem too dirty. Let's check these ones. Pots seem pretty clean. That's good. That's just my guitar. I'll turn that down. Nice. Reverb pot's a little dirty. Might be dirt, might be some voltage on the pot. Well, let's make sure it works too. Oh, it works. Cool, that's fair bit of gain, man. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a 12AX7 in the phase inverter or something. Anyway, point is, it works. We know. Let me check channel 1 and see if that's way less gainy or anything. It is, but it should be, because there's one less gain stage. And it's not like they've made, they haven't jumpered the channels. A little bleed into the reverb. Could just be like physically coupling, because the speaker's pretty loud and the reverb's right there. Or it could be a little bit of bleed here too if we turn the volume all the way down on channel 1. No, we don't get any bleed when channel 1 is all the way off. Okay, cool. Interesting. Kind of badass sounding, which I think you want to keep. So we won't do anything that we don't need to with this amp. We'll check the filter caps because that's an unknown, and you know, safety first and all that. But I've got a great cap tester, the Sencor now, so I can test vintage caps to see if they're leaky, and if they're not, then maybe we just keep them in place. But if they're close or even slightly, you might as well just put some good F&Ts in there or something that'll last you for another 25 years. Okay, so I'll pause this and we'll pull the chassis out and see what we got.